Parashat Mishpatim. Before Parashat Mishpatim, all the information is right there behind me. So, אתה היית עם אלכסס?
No.
Okay.
Okay, just getting.
Everything is right here behind, so email and so on and so forth. Reach us over there. Parashat Mishpatim. You know, if we're going to look at the placement of Parashat Mishpatim in the Torah, the thing that comes out, that jumps out to us right away, is the Torah, because we're having here, by the way, a Seudah for our dear friend Ari, his refuah shlema, Seudat Odaya, and Hodul Hashem Kitov Ki Olam Chasdo. So, the Torah, all of a sudden, the Torah, in the middle of the big climax of Matan Torah, giving the Ten Commandments and so on, all of a sudden comes the Torah and puts us Parashat Mishpatim right in the middle, with a whole list of halachot and dinim and everything else like that. And then all of us does another cut, another frame, and then bring us back to Har Sinai when Moshe Rabbeinu goes to the mountain, and the Torah says, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, alei alai ha'ara," you should climb up to the mountain. Vayal Moshe el ha'ar, and Moshe climbed to the mountain. Vayaches ha'anan et ha'ar, and the cloud covered the mountain. Vayovo Moshe betoch ha'anan, and Moshe came into the cloud. Vayal el ha'ar, vayib Moshe ba'ar, vayim yom vayim layla, and he stayed there 40 days and 40 nights. And so on and so forth. So the question is, why all of a sudden the Torah stops in the middle, and in the middle of the action, and puts us Parashat Mishpatim. It says in Sefer Tehillim, in Psalms 147, verse 19, Magid devarav leYaakov, chukav u'mishpatav leYisrael. There's two things. You see, Magid Varav leYaakov, Chukav, Mishpatav leYisrael. The Midrash says, in Shmot Rabbah, the Midrash says, Magid Varav leYaakov, what does it mean? Elu aseret hadibrot. The Ten Commandments is the Dvarav, Chukav u'Mishpatav leYisrael, the laws and the halachot are the Mishpatim. So David HaMelech tells us here that those halachot and the dinim and the laws in which we got in this parasha are at least at the same level as the Ten Commandments. People think that the Ten Commandments are the meal, not the meal end all, but you know what I'm saying. They even stand up in the middle of reading the Ten Commandments, and they stand up as honor for that. Of course, halachically, that is incorrect to do so, because there's no part in the Torah that is more or less important than any other part. But in terms of what we refer to, we would say, Kabet alvicha ve'timecha, or I am God which took you out of Egypt. Maybe it's more important than other things, but Lemasa it's not. If you really come to think about it, every mitzvah in the Torah is included with the first one, Ani Hashem Elokecha, I am God who took you out of Egypt. It's very simple. So there's not really anything more or less than that. It's a very important point to understand. More than that, there are some Mefarshim that says that we know that the Madrega, the level of Israel, is higher than the Madrega of Yaakov. Every time it refers to Israel, refers to a higher spiritual level. So we have from here a very interesting concept that tells us that the Mishpatim, the laws, the halachot, might be even more holy or holier than the Ten Commandments. We never looked at it this way. But it's very important to understand this parasha, because you see there are many people, and hopefully by the time we finish today, Be'ezrat Hashem, of course it's going to be a little later, but maybe you would try to not even reduce, but not to stop, but at least reduce the complaint about too many mitzvot, and this is too difficult for me to do, and look, leniencies, and maybe this will put us on a different path on keeping the mitzvot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the mitzvot of the Torah itself. Which I think we all have to work on. Rashi says, Ve'ele ha-mishpatim, right? Any place shene'emar ele, without the vav, pasal harishonim, it replaces the first one. Ve'ele, and those, mosif al harishonim. It adds on the other mitzvot in which we received earlier. So the Mishpatim are from, as much as the Aseret HaDibrot are from Sinai, from Har Sinai, given to us by God. Therefore, all the mitzvot and all the halachot that come after that also have the same magnitude of as we received it in Sinai and mountain from God and so on. We have to remember that. And this is very important to understand how important are the mitzvot and how important are the halachot. I'm not saying make your life difficult and look ways to make the mitzvot more difficult for you to the point that it's just like chas v'shalom becomes almost like a burden. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, please, let's just try to do it right. Let's change the attitude towards doing the mitzvot. Rav Kook wrote many books. One of the books that he wrote is called Rosh Milim. And when he's talking about the letter Vav, he said something very interesting, and I'm quoting. The letter Vav is kekeres. It's like a hook who connects two separate entities. You know, when you have a hook or a safety pin that connects things together. But more than that, the letter Vav that starts in this pasuk, mechaberet, connects between the upper world to the lower world. Connects between the past and the present, and from here to the future. The power of the letter Vav is to unite and to put things together. To connect, to put things together. To find the point of unity in everything. Not the point that separates, to put things together. So last week we read about Har Sinai, about the Ten Commandments, that they were written on stones and so on and so forth, that represents the Torah at its highest level, written by the hand of God, engraved into a stone and so on. And we could have thought that the Torah is so high and is so superior that it's beyond us to do. We can't do it. It's from divine, from heaven. And therefore it should stay there. That's the mistake of the nations. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to all the nations of the world and offered them Torah, they failed to understand that point. You might think that the Torah, it's some kind of an esoteric practice, some kind of a philosophical high point in which you can't really apply to this world, which happens in many other religions of the world, when only the priests deal with the spiritual and all the other people deal with the regular growing the rice and so on. But no, this is not the case. This is not the case. The Vav of Ve'ele comes to add on, as we said, on the first one, and teaches us, because the Torah is able, our Torah, to connect high ideals, high concepts, which is the Elyonim, with the Tachtonim, with the things on the bottom, which is our practical life that we have here, you know, our regular life, our earthy lives. Even for an Eved who was sold because he stole something, he's obligated, and he became a slave, he was obligated by those halachot. Everybody has to do them. In the Sefer HaKuzari, Rabbi Yehuda Levi has a very, very interesting, just take it easy over there, Avner, because we have to daven Arvit. No, you can have some, but you know, we're not in the Politburo, in the Kremlin, you know. You can have, לבריאות שיהיה לך. He describes he has a very nice parallel that says something like that. It says there are people who are standing in line for the pharmacist to receive medication, to receive medicine, and to the great astonishment, the pharmacist is not there. He didn't get there. So all of a sudden comes a person who is, his apprentice. He comes in and he doesn't know, and he gives everybody medication without the proper instructions, and by doing so he's actually causing harm to the people. This is the Torah. This is a wonderful mashal. This is the Torah about why did we receive the Torah? In order for us to know how to live life, not to destroy the world and not to destroy and harm ourselves. I don't understand why would anybody would object such a wonderful way of life. We always hear, oh, this one is like this, and the rabbis are like this, and the other one is like this, and the students are like this, the Yeshiva Bachurim are like this, and so on. Okay, whatever. But how about between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The Torah is a relationship between man and God. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing you a favor. Without the wisdom of God giving to us in this encrypted thing that's called the Torah, that we have to labor ourselves to find out and to unzip from the zip drive and to encrypt it, we will be lost. We will harm ourselves. And yes, also with the wrong attitude to do it, we harm ourselves. You're taking the medication when it was not prescribed to you in ways that it wasn't prescribed to you, we harm ourselves. With the proper dosage, we could connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we could relate to Him, we can communicate with Him. And doing exactly what He wants us to do, what is expected of us. I mean, what's better than to do what is expected of you? We are here for a reason. Everybody has a mission. And there's certain things that is expected from us to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, has anybody, maybe, I don't know, maybe in Romania of Ceausescu, some kind of a, some factory in downtown Bucharest during the communism era, you would go to work and expect to do nothing and get paid. But you see, it doesn't work. You go to work, you expect to produce. You go to work, you expect to be told what to do and how to do it. Because you want to do the right thing. Why is it when it comes to this world and it comes to our life, we don't want to do the right thing? Why is it that we don't want to keep Torah mitzvot? Why is it that we're trying to cut slack all the time, not to do the right thing? Why do we have such a stinking attitude? Sorry, excuse my French. It's a very lousy attitude that we have about doing mitzvot. It's for your benefit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need us. He doesn't need our mitzvot. He doesn't need that. He gave it to us. And we throw it away. I mean, you gotta really be kidding me. There's something wrong with you if you think like that. Just do it. Do what you need to do. And I'm saying, let's not do what is not expected of us from the right or from the left. Let's do what we need to do. Let's do the din. As much as the din judgment that comes from the judge needs to be clear, you don't go to court, argument's sake, and the judge says to you, well, I don't know, it's an interesting case. What do you want to give him? Life in prison? You want to give him death penalty? You can, as far as I'm concerned, you can set him free. I mean, whatever you want. He said, what kind of judge is this? The judge tells you exactly what it is. If it's guilty, it's guilty. If it's innocent, it's innocent. So you know what to do. The same thing to be able to execute. The same thing here. We need to know exactly what the deed is. Let's not get confused. And for that, we need to learn, of course. If you look at the difference between the laws that the Torah gives us to the laws that the secular world has, you would see that the laws that the secular world has are, how should I say it, somewhat logical. It makes sense, you know. But in other words, it's something that all men agrees on. For example, you know, you're not expected to kill people, and you're expected to pay taxes, and because we all agree on that. So that's how it was written. However, the laws of the Torah, right, is different. Everything that was, no, for me, I can't have meat. I'm sorry, I don't eat meat. Whatever the Torah tells us, you know, in terms of the din Torani, everything that the Torah is giving us, it's completely different. And why is that? Every din, every halacha that was given according to the laws of the Torah becomes Torah. Even if a minhag of Israel, minhag Israel, Torah, we say, it becomes a part of the Torah. Okay, minhag, but okay, we're talking about minhag, not minhag. You know, I had minhag in downtown Afghanistan to eat. You know, what do you want to say, right? I didn't want to say Tehran, you know. But everything like that, every halacha becomes gufa Torah. It becomes the body of the Torah. It becomes Torah itself. So when it's so much that Chazal in Masechet Shabbat tells us the following, and I'm quoting: Kol dayan shedan din emet le'amito. Every judge, religious judge, that give the appropriate judgment the way it should be, without any kind of diversion or any kind of distortion. Dan din le'amito. Na'asa shutaf lakadosh baruch hu b'maaseh bereshit. He becomes a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in creation. Rabotai, that's a horrific statement. I mean, it's so unbelievable. I mean, you have to be with awe to understand the statement. And therefore, every rabbi, when he gives the din, should have yirat shamayim on his shoulder, ki'ilu cherev munachat al tzavaro. It's like a samurai sword on his neck, ve'eimat adin lefanav, and he has to have the fear or the awe of judgment. When he gives halacha, it has to be clear, the din. I'm not telling you things for you to like me, and I'm not telling you things for you to be impressed by me. I'm telling you what the halacha is. That's how careful you have to be. You understand what it means? Na'asa shutaf, he becomes a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in creation. Maybe some rabbis should go over Masechet Shabbat a little bit more often to understand this. And they won't be so shooting from the hip when it comes to halacha. צריך להיות כל דבר בכובד ראש. You have to think about it. You have to answer appropriately. And you have to answer truthfully. You know, you're not a mind reader. We're not prophets. If my way of looking at it, if somebody comes to ask me, he's coming to ask me a question. He's asking me a question. If I'm going to start hypothesizing, making a hypothesis, maybe if I'm going to tell him, he's not going to listen. Maybe if I tell him, I'm going to divert from the truth. Yeah, I believe that if a person comes to ask you a question, why is he asking you a question? Is he asking you a question because he doesn't want to do what is expected of him to do? Otherwise, he would not ask you. If that was the case, he would not ask you. If a person asks you a question, it's because he wants to do what? The right thing. So why should I tell him something else that it's not the right thing? I'm distorting the Torah. Where's your responsibility? That's why I'm so much, we have to be very, 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 super, very careful to who we gave a permission to be posek halachot, who's become a rabbi, who is not a rabbi. Become a rabbi is not to take a scarf and to put it on your shoulder and to put a sombrero hat on your head. That's not what it is. What is it, Purim? During Purim, if you want to dress up like, I don't know what, what's his name, Aladdin, you can be dressed up like Aladdin as far as I'm concerned. You can dress up like a chief rabbi, I don't care, but it's not Purim. You have to understand, being a rabbi is not just a job that you have or means for you to make money. You are literally carrying the world on your shoulders. But do you understand what you're doing? I don't understand these people. It's mind-boggling. The quickness that they are to answer, to do this. Oh, they're not going to listen. Oh, they're not going to. People are asking you. Should I go to a mixed wedding or should I go to a mixed wedding? Did you look what the Mishnah Berurah says? Don't follow the Mishnah Berurah in that. Well, I know that Rabbi Ovadia Yosef said lechatchila you should, but nobody. All of a sudden you don't listen to the Mishnah Berurah when it's not convenient to you. All of a sudden Rabbi Ovadia Yosef lechatchila you don't care. You only want b'di'evet. So come on, you're fake, man. That's it. Oh, 40 years ago, we used to see men and women sitting together from that Baba Mises. 40 years ago, I remember Steve people said 40 years ago they did. Nobody did. If you go 100 years ago, somebody said 40 years ago, we've been in that story. 40 years you've been in a desert. Tell the people. Somebody asks you a question, tell them. And if not, you need to explain to the people. Your job, when you get your smicha, your certificate from whoever gave you this ordination, it says yoreh, yoreh. You have to teach. What kind of a teacher you are? Maybe they should pass a test, to see some kind of an improvement like they do in schools. Is your congregation getting better? Or they're not getting better? Or they're staying on the same level? Maybe they should have some kind of a test. I don't know what to tell you, but the level is ridiculous. Rabotai, how should I say? This fish sticks from the head, okay? If we see that people are living our religion, it's not because they are bad. It's because we are not doing something right. And who is not doing right? Climb the ladder. Whoever gives the orders, whoever teaches, whoever guides. There are communities that the rabbis are stars, they are angels. And the community grows and grows and grows and grows. And there's no fighting and there's no, this and there's no they're active, they're making institutions of chesed, and they're increasing. And there are communities that you pour money into, and it's like pouring money into the pit. It's like that nothing happens. Money and money. You're building mausoleums. You're not building shuls or your yeshivot. Why is it a joke? Tell me who your friends are. I'll tell you who you are. Tell me who your leaders. I'll tell you who you are. Let me ask you a question. If you have a choice, and it's up to you to pick up a rabbi, are you going to pick up the best rabbi or the most convenient rabbi? A rabbi is not a slipper, it's not a shoe. You need somebody to guide you, to be able to lift you, to elevate you, to sometimes push you from the back and sometimes pull you from the front. He needs to be able to be all over the place, to encourage the people. To go. Why are we picking people that are not always the top of the game? Because we don't hold them accountable, because we don't want to be held accountable. But we're paying the price. How do we pay the price? Our kids go out of faith. I know what I'm saying is harsh words, but I'm sick and tired of hiding behind words. I think it needs to be said. It needs to be said. I see what's going on. Everybody likes titles. Chief Rabbi of this, Chief Rabbi of that, Rabbinical Council of this, Rabbinical Council of that. Ridiculous. I saw today somebody sent me a letter. They took the name I won't say of which community, rabbinical chief rabbi and so on and so forth, is a trademark. I don't gotta be kidding me. A trademark? So guess what? Everybody wants to be a chief rabbi. So, I'll be chief rabbi of I don't know what. I don't know. Turkish and Jewish communities from South, that's nonsense. Nonsense. You want titles? Put it on your tombstone. It's not time for you for titles, it's time to work. That's this halacha. נעשה שותף, דן דין לאמיתה של תורה. אמת. Torah is אמת. Can't be שקר. נעשה שותף. You're partnering with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Guess what happened if you are not? The Gemara doesn't say, but what happened if you're not? Better off you didn't come to this world. Better off if you distort the halacha. Better off you didn't come to this world. Because at that point you're using the Torah for your own personal gain. That's not allowed. It's not allowed. And if you see something wrong, say it nicely, but say, excuse me, this is not right what you're doing. That's the bottom line. The Gemara says in Masechet Brachot, שלושה שיושבים בדין, 3 dayanim that sit in din. Rabotai, to be a dayan is not just to take a note. You should see what they do in Israel to become a dayan. You want to come to the din? I'll tell you this. Neki kapayim ubar levav. First of all, your hands have to be clean from anything. You have to be clean. Uvar levav, and a clean heart and a sparkling heart. You can't be an ex-con and be a dayan. Shlosha shedanu bedin, 3 men who sat in the din, shlosha dayanim, 3 dayanim who sat in the din, shchina imahem. The shchina comes with them. Now, chas v'shalom, if you have 3 dayanim, right? Inim inim inimo. Clowns, as a shchina. What are you doing? You're putting the shchina in galut. It's not Torah if you do it like this. It becomes avodah zarah. It's something else. It's not Torah. You have to be yeresh shamayim. You have to be knowledgeable. A person that knows how to get along with people. Who understands. Today, you want to open a bed din? Oh, open a bed din. How about you? You want to open a bed din? Open a bed din. Branches. By the supermarket. It's a joke. And why is that? Why the Shekhinah comes to the din? Because in the give and take of negotiation of the human mind, we can have a mistake. A person can have a mistake. Can make a mistake. But when you do the derech mishpatei Hashem, when it becomes emet la'amito, 3 dayanim, the sit down and learn the sugya, the Shekhinah comes and embeds itself among them and agrees with the psak halacha. How do I know that? It's very simple. When it was time to do the zmanim of Rosh Chodesh and Moadim, when is Rosh Chodesh, when is Moadim, it says, Ele Moadei Hashem. These are the holidays of Hashem. Mikrae Kodesh, the holy. What? Asher what? Asher tikreu otam b'moadam. How am I supposed to know when is the Chag, when is Rosh Chodesh? How am I supposed to know this? In Vayikra, right? It says, how am I supposed to know? The Sanhedrin people, they used to establish the Chagim, the Moadim, Rosh Chodesh, and so on and so forth. They used to establish it by 2 witnesses, even if there was a mistake, right? Min HaShamayim, they would agree with them immediately. Because that was the Ratzon Elyon. That's how it was. So you see, when the Dayanim come, there's Siyat Mashal. They agree with them. So Chash v'Shalom. How can we make a din? She's a lot din emet. Bar minnan. And these are Dayanim, and it goes down to the Morim, to the teachers, to the rabbis, and so on and so forth. That's why it's important. When your two friends are sitting, right? You sit down and you eat. En benehem divrei Torah, כאילו אכלו מזבחי מתים. Like they ate the worst kind of idol worshipping. מה זה? אין תורה ביניכם. Why? Because when two people speak Torah, the Shekhinah comes to listen. Guys, you know, there were times Shekhinah dwelled on the Yerushalayim. In the Holy of Holies, in Bet HaMikdash. The Shekhinah left with us to Galut. So we would not be alone. So we can sanctify every place and every moment that we at. How are we going to sanctify? We're going to burn incense and sing Hare Krishna? What are we going to say? How are we going to make it holy? We're going to speak Divrei Torah. We're going to speak the Emet. And that's how we sanctify the place and the time and the moment. We sanctify our lives. The Shekhinah comes among you. When the Shekhinah is around us, so you agree with me and I agree with you and we agree with him and everything is good. Because the Shekhinah is here. We feel it. The holiness, the Kedusha. I'm telling you, not Chas v'Shalom, I don't want to brag. But I can almost tell you, when I go to a place, what's the place? How do I know it? Based on the thoughts that comes to my head. If I go to a place, I sit down, all of a sudden I hear a barrage, thoughts of Torah come, I say, okay, that's a good place, the place of Kedusha, there's Torah here, there's something here. And so on and so forth. All of a sudden, all kind of crazy thoughts come to my head. I know this place is good. Get out of here. I run out of there. I run out of there. It's very important to do. Everybody can do it. It's not a trick. So, after the Mabul, it tells us, the Mabul tells us about the story of Noah when he became drunk. Being drunk is horrible. One of the worst things you can do is to be drunk. To have a little bit l'chaim, no, sein gesund, it's okay, yofi, you know. On Shabbat, if you want to have something, drink on Shabbat. Not after every shacharit, you eat, you take a warm vodka and a sponge cake, right? No, why is it bad? Let me show you why getting drunk is bad. It says, "Vayishaker vayitiagel betoch haoel," and he drank and he rolled in the tent. Vayarech Ham avi Knan, and Ham, the father of Knan, saw the erva of his father. Vayagad l'shnei Ham bachutz, and he told his two brothers they were outside the tent. Ham made a b'gam b'ayin uv'shen, in the eye and the tooth. Right? He looked whatever he was not supposed to look, which was Ervat Aviv, and Diber, and he spoke whatever was not allowed to him to speak. And he told exactly what happened. Ham was the first one who desecrated his father's honor. He desecrated his father's honor. When you talk about the Teva, how creation works, and the nature of creation, call it this way, a son is connected, attached to his father, mamash b'machshava. There's a certain closeness that a father has to his son that is very difficult to explain. Ham, made a perud, made a separation with that. He made a separation. When Noach rolled what he rolled, he drank, and Ham came to him and spoke Lashon Hara about his father and actually laughed on his father and desecrated his father. What happened? He fell from the level of Ben, of son, to the level of Eved, of a slave. Why? Because when Noach woke up and he saw what happened, he cursed him. He says, Eved Avadim, he's going to be a slave of slaves, Cham. He's going to be to his brothers. From that act of lack of kibud av bahem came the root of slavery in the world. And Cham is responsible for that. Don't say anything, but think about it yourselves. It's from that point. When we need to understand that that root also exists inside of us. Each and every one of us. When we don't act בכבוד שמיים, שיהיו כל מעשיך לכבוד שמיים, when all your action are expected to be towards honor of God, when your actions are not to be kavod shamayim, to honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we run away, we separate from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we go down to the level of slavery. And now we can talk about Yetziat Mitzrayim, coming out of Egypt. That was the whole entire thing. We need to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the closest was, of course, in Har Sinai. The Mekubalim says, therefore, the root of Avdut, of slavery, is Eved, Basar Vadam, Levasar Vadam. A man is going to be a slave, Le'echav, to another man. Right? And that cannot be a divine concept. It's not something to become a slave of another human being. That's not something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu programmed in his world. That it was a result of man's action. God does not want another man enslaving another man. Remember that. Now you might understand why when a person steals and he can't pay it back, he becomes a slave. What happened to you when you steal?
Go to prison.
No, or you go to prison or you become a politician. Yeah, but if you steal something, you're basically saying, I don't care what God says. I don't want to. He says, "Lo tignov," don't steal. I don't want to steal. So you create a separation. You create a separation. When you create a separation, you go down to slavery. That's what happens. And it says, whether it's separating from the concept of there is a God, or actually separating from God itself, is the same thing, Rabotai. When a person says, I don't know, I believe in God, but I don't know, you are separating yourself in an idea from God. And that's a horrible thing to do. And it says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created us, B'nai Chorim. Right? B'nai Chorim. Ma ze Chorim? HaKadosh Baruch Hu only gives freedom. And it says what it says, the script on the Luchot HaBrit. Al tikra charut, ela cheirut. Exactly. And that's in Masechet Eruvin, Daf Nun Daled Amud Aleph. Al tikra charut, ela cheirut. Freedom. Anachnu b'nei chorin. We are free men. We are free men. From that, from the avdut, from the slavery, comes the klala. That's what he says, Aru, Knan, Erev, Adim, and so on and so forth. All the bad things in the world came from the curse of that sin that Ham did to his father, until our Avot, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov came, and they changed the whole entire thing. The Avot were the first one who changed that by recognizing God and striving to be in His presence. By changing that, the Avot, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, brought bracha to the world. And because of that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Ahava Rabbah, or Ahavat Olam, depends how you say it. When it says Ahavat Rabbah, or Ahavat Olam, who does it refer to? Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves them so much because they strive to be attached to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They brought the bracha to the world. You understand? When you connect yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you bring a bracha to yourself. And therefore, if you want to receive bracha, follow the path of of the Avot, of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, of looking for HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything you do. We spoke last week about the last commandment of Lo Tachmod. You should not desire something that is not yours, whether it's your house of your fellow person, or his house, or his car, or his wife, or his field, and so on and so forth. We spoke about it. And we spoke also that all the reasons why we need all the laws and judgment is all because of jealousy and competition and so on that we have. And the Sforno says that here in our parasha, what we are basically talking about is the halachot of Bal Tachmod. Bal Tachmod, according to the Sforno, is a concept, and all those halachot that we have in this, on this laws that we have, the mitzvot that we have in this parasha, are subcategories of that halacha, of that mitzvah of Bal Tachmod. According to Mekubalim, says Bal Tachmod, not only what somebody else has, but also what you have in your hand. Don't fall too much in love with them. I have to tell you, I told you this before. I thought, we always think about the Native Americans as a bunch of savages, right? Because that was convenient for Hollywood to portray them as savages. But there's a lot to learn from these people. A lot. If a young man would take a young woman as his quote-unquote wife, everybody would bring the most important, precious possessions to them as a gift. They would not give you, let's say for example, you gave me a plate for a wedding. So, plate, okay. Next wedding he has, give him the plate, and he gives it. It's like a mishloach manot. Sometimes you get, the mishloach manot, at the end of the day, you get the same mishloach manot that you gave. Right? It's like, wow. Guess people really like what I gave them, you get it back. The most important possessions was considered to be a burden on them to have. Expensive things are only things that I need. I don't need those expensive things. I don't need it. There's a lot to learn. We think we know everything. We don't. You can learn from everybody. You have a gold watch. What do you need a gold watch for? If your son will take the gold watch and play with it and accidentally break it, huh? Whoa, you're going to be angry at him. Oh boy, you're going to be angry at him. You're going to yell at him. You curse him. You hit him. For what? A piece of metal? What's wrong with you? It's your son. It's your flesh and blood. So he broke your gold watch. Well, so what? Maybe you should take a Brenner and just melt it for fun. But you need it anyway. You waste time as it is. So now you're going to waste time on the golden watch. Don't need it. You see, we're very bad. So when it comes to your things, even that, you should realize that those things are not going to stay with you forever. Nothing is going to stay with you forever. You're not going to be buried with your Rolex, and even if you would, it's not going to be taken, you're not going to be able to take it to Olam Haba. It's staying here. The Neshama is going there. So what do I need it anyway? Maybe because I'm getting old, or older. I told my wife, I don't know, what do I need all the things that I have? I don't want to buy anything anymore. I don't need it. I don't need those things. So give it away. Give it to, a few months ago we gave maybe 5 or 6, the contractor bags full of clothes. They were great clothes. Well, why do I need this one? Give it to people. People who need it. They're sitting in my closet. Give it away. Give it. They're good. Nothing wrong with them. But why do I need it? How many shirts do I need? How many pants do I need? How many shoes do I need? How many coats do I need? Why do I need all these things? I don't think there's enough days for me to wear all these clothes that I have. Give it away. Leather jacket, yallah. Give it away. Give your most important. What's the most important possession you have? Find somebody that you love, give it to him. Or maybe somebody you don't love. Because if somebody you love, you give him your love, you don't give him your objects. That's another thing. When a person becomes a slave to materialistic objects, immediately there is a machloket, immediately there's argument, and immediately there are disputes. A person sees, oh, he decides that he is missing something. Oh, I'm missing something, right? And when he decides he misses something, only when somebody else has it. For example, I'll give you an example. You see this beautiful egg roll here? Nobody's eating it, right? A bunch of hypocrites. You know, everybody wants to eat it, but nobody's going to eat it. If I'm going to ask you now, so eat it. But if I'm going to ask you, you want to say, I'm going to say, no, I don't want it. And you say, no, I really don't want it. Let's say, for example, Sam take it. Don't take it, because I'm going to take it. Let's say, for example, Sam takes it. As soon as he takes it, he's going to say, man, I really wanted this egg roll. So Sam will say to him, you have it. I say, no, I don't want it. So Ari will say, I'll take it. It was here. You're already fighting. It was here before. You all could have taken it. Only when you see something by somebody else, now you realize you don't have it. Oh, I need this, I need this. But it was good until now. Until now you didn't need it. You didn't have a need for it. You didn't even know you need it. You didn't even know that you're missing it. Now that you saw it by him, now you know, oh, I can't live, I can't sleep, I gotta have this. I don't know about you, but there's something wrong with this concept. There's something wrong with this mindset. I was fine beforehand, and I'll probably be better off without it. What's wrong with us? Seriously. You listening, Emmanuel? Yeah. There's hoverboard. Sell it. Sell it. Take the money. How old are you? Good. Take the money. Even better. Take the money that you sell it. And when you're 60 years old, put it in a bank. Don't touch it until you're 60 years old. When you come 60 years old, I'm going to be dead already. I'm not going to live that long. 50 years from now, I don't think I'm going to make it to 100. I hope I will. 104? With you guys, I don't know. Okay. You'll see how much money you have when 50 years from now. But you need it for. And you know what you're going to do with this money that you save now from your hoverboard? You're going to buy your grandson books, holy books. That's what you're going to do with this. You don't need it. When I was a kid, I begged my father, I begged him to buy me a cassette player. You know, all my friends had a cassette player with a radio. You know, we used to record songs from the Etzion. We listened to music, Greek music, oh, Led Zeppelin. How many times can you listen to Stairway to Heaven anyway? I mean, like, I'm sick and tired of this song, right? Or More Than a Feeling, like the Masters. I can't listen to this anymore. That's why I only listen to classical music. I love classical music. Oh. Well, there's endless, you know, it's like you can never listen to it, yeah? Baroque, I like Baroque music. I begged him, I begged my father to buy me. My parents didn't have money. My parents didn't have money. For years I asked him, I begged him. Everybody had, I didn't have it. Guess what? Doing pretty good without it. I don't even have cassettes anymore. Don't even have CDs. Maybe I am where I am because I didn't have it. I think I was better off without it. I only realized it later on. For example, you have a hoverboard, right? You have a hoverboard, anywhere you go, run. Run anywhere you go. You do it now, a few years down the road, you can go to Navy SEALs. You go on the hoverboard, you're going to look like a donut. Run. You don't need it. And that's only him, all of us. We don't need it. If you think about changing your car, don't. You don't need it. Drive your car until the job's dead. Drive your car until the job's dead. Even if you fix it, it's cheaper than buying a car. I have a car that some of my kids are younger than it. 17 years old. The car that I drive every day, 17 years old. I have another car, 17 years old at home. It has 185,000 miles on it. I said, not getting rid of it at least until it gets to 100,000 miles. It's driving great. My Mustang, terrific. Doesn't have so many miles, but 17 years old. I want to be able to have it long enough so I can put like historic on it. I have to bring it to a test or something. You don't need it. Whatever you think you need, you realize you don't need. By the way, that's a free man. One of the concepts of being free is free. Free of that endless bombardment of telling you things that you become a slave. You become a slave to somebody's marketing schemes. You become a slave to your desire and so on and so forth. You need to be free. That's called being free. Right? A person has a house, right? What's wrong with your house? Nothing's wrong with my house. But you see your friend buying a big house. Or let's say you live in Kew Gardens, right? Yeah, Leo, that's for you. You live in Kew Gardens. There's beautiful houses there. I mean, it's a gorgeous neighborhood. Kew Gardens is a gorgeous neighborhood. I love Kew Gardens. There are Torah institutions there. There's a Bet Yaakov there, Yeshiva Ktana, there's Yeshiva Gdola, there's plenty of shuls. Kew Gardens is the place to be. Wonderful people. Wonderful people. Better. 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 So what's wrong with the houses? Eliyahu, what's wrong with the houses in Kew Gardens? Anything? No. But one knucklehead decided he wants to move to Great Lake. A whole community moved up to Great Lake. Why? Wow, I cannot live in Kew Gardens anymore. I gotta go to Great Lake. What are you, a goat? One goes after him. Maze. You're slaves. That's exactly it. It's a herd mentality. And it's a terrible thing to do. Jealousy, jealousy is very bad. We're jealous, we desire, and it kills us. It kills us. All the troubles that we have in the world is jealousy, machloket, all the problems that we have comes from the tumah of the nachash, of the snake you put into us. This materialistic desire. Ooh, that's a nice tree there. Let me get some fruit. I told you not to eat it. I don't care what you said. Guess what? You're out of here. The desires, the snake, desires, that killed us. Until now. The same thing. You want to cancel that? I have a recipe for you. So, we can stop jealousy in Am Yisrael in two ways. Two ways we can stop jealousy in Am Yisrael. One way, which of course we don't really want, comes the Goyim and beat the daylight out of us. By the way, I do have to stop right now. I'm going to tell you the following. Probably he's not listening. His loss. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the following. I was amazed and really moved, sincerely moved, by the act of the Vice President Pence. What he did when he went to the cemetery and he rolled his sleeves and he cleaned. I mean, I get goosebumps. By the way, did you see any? Did you see any big rabbi over there cleaning stuff? No, they're too busy chaining themselves to the chairs. Clean the cemetery after they desecrated 100 and something graves in St. Louis.
The whole St. Louis went.
Everybody, people went. Even Muslims went. Yeah. But I didn't see any local chief rabbis going there, huh?
No media over there.
Yeah, no media, no. Yeah. The chairs are too attached to the ground here. They couldn't move. Huh? Yeah. Jewish cemetery.
They put the songs over.
Everything. A vice president of the United States went over there, rolls his sleeves, and cleaning up. Okay? Then we should learn. However, we could stop jealousy by having a goy and, as I said, beating the daylight out of us, as Chad V'Shalom, as they did in the Holocaust, or they did in the pogroms, or they did in the Spanish Acquisition. You know, all of a sudden we love each other, right? We were compadres. Yeah, we love each other. So that's one way to stop. Another way to stop is, as we say here, this is going to be Parashat what also? What's the Parashat before Chodesh Adar? Sheka'alim. If we're going to understand, there's no difference between us anymore. There's no such thing as a poor Jew, superior or inferior to this kind of Jew. Rich Jew is above, poor Jew in the bottom. Habibi, when you come in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you could be the rabbi from I don't know where. The Hadmor from Kazakhstan, as far as I'm concerned. The big Rebbe of Turkmenistan. Chacham Bashi of Switzerland. Chief Rabbi of Swaziland. I don't care who you are. You come into HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everybody gives machatzit shekel. You're all equal. All equal in the eyes of Hashem. But we are the morons. We don't want to understand that. We are all equal. You understand that? Or you don't understand that? You don't want to understand that? That's fine. Not a problem. I'll get a goy. I'll give you a little Hitler, Mach Shema V'Shem Zichron. He'll teach you a lesson. You're all going to be the same. He hated the Jews equally. Believe me, he did not hate more Ashkenazi Jews than he hated Sephardi Jews. He didn't hate more religious Jews than he hated secular. He hated all Jews. Right. Equal opportunities. Hater. You don't want to understand that. Okay, so you understand it this way. You understand why you have to give tzedakah. You see your brother suffering. You don't feel his pain? Now, 1 second. Either you are not his brother, or something is wrong with you. So guess what? Your little heart is not working right. You have spiritual cardiac arrest. Not a problem. Defibrillator. We'll give you, wake up, ice pain. Oh, it hurts me too. So now, instead of him asking you, you have to ask him. You didn't feel his pain. You didn't feel his pain. You didn't care. Okay, I'll show you how it feels. Okay, you're going to ask not him. You have to give tzedakah. You have to understand that. You have to understand that everything that is yours is not yours. Everything that was yours was given you on a loan. It's for you to share. I'm not saying communism, but you have to share it. Distribute your wealth kindly because you want to, because you care. Because you care. There's plenty of food in the world to make everybody full and not hungry. And yet people are going to sleep hungry. People throw food. Of course, there are always regulation upon thousands of regulation. But if they would also take it easy on the regulation, all these darn politicians, all the food from wedding halls, go feed poor people. Jews are not just like, give them. They'll eat. But they can't do that, so they throw it in the garbage, right? Steaks, whoops, in the garbage. Smorgasbord, in the garbage. Whatever they can be cooked for tomorrow, in the garbage. You can feed the homeless people in New York with, I think, with 2 wedding halls. They'll be good. Don't forget, a hungry man is an angry man. The pot is full, but we're hungry. The belly is full, and we're hungry. We don't want to understand that. We create separation, and then we separate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. And then we say, And we say to ourselves, he's not a Jew like me. I'm a better Jew than him. I have a bigger yichus than him. What's it mean you have a bigger yichus? Lineage? What? You come from Nimrod, I come from Avraham Avinu, you have a bigger yichus? I don't understand that. We all children of Avraham Avinu, aren't we? Aren't we all, when we got the Torah, in front of Matan Torah, weren't we all the same? When he gave the Mishpatim, who he gave the Mishpatim? He didn't give them to Yaakov. He gave it to Israel. Chukav u'mishpatav leIsrael. In Israel is one nation. Vayachanu sham, it says Vayachan sham, Israel. As singular. It says Vayachanu sham, you should say. And Am Israel parked over there at the bottom of the mountain. And it says no, Vayachan sham Israel. And they, as one body, one entity, all equals in the eyes of God, stand there at the bottom of the mountain. Vayachan sham Israel. With one heart. All the Jews saw the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, heard the voice, received the Torah, big ones, little ones, right? They all received that. And when there is such a great light as the Torah, we all attach ourselves to it. And therefore you should understand that the Torah that we received in Har Sinai, that was the ultimate freedom. It was the ultimate freedom because, as Chazal tells us, Kol en lechabel chorim ela mi sheosek b'Torah. A free man is the only person. Who is that? Is the only person who learns the Torah. You want to be free, learn Torah. Because it says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he looked in the Torah and he created the world. Or as the Gemara says, Be'oraita yistakel uvara alama. He contemplated the Torah and he created the world. In other words, the talks of creations and so on and so forth. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Asara Ma'amarot, the 10 different statements that was a part of creation, the word creation itself, are Divrei Torah itself. The world was created by Torah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Ein Sof, is endless, and there's endless light. And he created the appropriate channels of bracha to come to this world, which the light that he created comes down, the channels come down to this world, which brings the abundance, as the Zohar says in Parashat Mishpatim, that the Tzinor, in which those ma'amarot, which those voices came down through this world, was only the Tzinor of Torah, through Torah. Therefore the whole reality that a person lives when he is happy and he understands the bracha that he has from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything that he has from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because he learned the Torah and he understands this now. He is a free man. He is a free man. And that is the chayut. This is the livelihood that we get, and that is at the beginning of Chodesh Adar. Because at the beginning of Chodesh Adar we says why? Mishenichnas Adar Marbim besimcha. What do we do before Chag HaCherut, before Pesach? 30 days before Pesach, what do? We started to learn halachot Pesach. In other words, your freedom is dependent on learning halachot and learning Torah, Rabotai. When you consider to be yourself a free man is not a free man. Freedom is only when you have Torah. You could be chas v'shalom in jail, and if you have Torah in you, you are free. And that nobody will take you. Torah would never be taken away from you, even in Olam Haba. You're going to it free. So, if we summarize it, if we say that there are two levels going down in slavery, there are also two levels of elevation of Torah itself. One is considered to be Ben, and one is considered to be Eved, in Avodat Hashem. Avodah shelo lishma. When you're doing Avodah, not for the sake of Avodah, you're doing it like Eved. Shene'emar, לעולם לא תשמשו את הקדוש ברוך הוא, never serve הקדוש ברוך הוא כעבד על מנת לקבל פרס. Don't do the mitzvot like a slave who wants to get a reward. Do it like a son who understands the connection between him and his father is greater than everything. Because my father asked me and I'm doing it. I don't understand what's the problem. not like a slave. You're doing it because your father asked you. And when you do this and you understand that, this is how you solve your problems. This is how we understand that there's room in my heart, and then I could fulfill Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, and I could follow my fellow Jew, and I can love him, and there's no machloket. And when there's no machloket, it's all good. We understand. We understand. But there is such thing that's called Yeridat HaDorot, decline of the generation. The Ramchal tells us that there are people who stayed in the level of slave, not an Eved, a slave, and he does Torah Shelo Lishma, and therefore the problems continue. And that's why we need those halachot, to guide us, to bring us together, to guide us, to bring us together. And by learning Torah, learning not only the plain halachot, Rabotai, when you're learning halacha, when you're learning the words of Torah, you need to understand, you need to learn everything. However, you also must understand the pnimiyut, the internal aspect, the spiritual aspect of this halachot as well. It will give you a better understanding. You do so, you'll connect to it. You'll connect to it, you would love it. You would love it, you would never leave it. And if therefore we see people who are leaving our faith, is we know because they don't love it, because they don't know it, and they don't appreciate it, and that's why they go. And it is therefore our job to show tremendous itlahavut, simcha, joy in avodat Hashem, to our children, to ourselves, to our friends, to our neighbors. We should show people how we do things without trying to cut corners. Because when we show other people that we cut corners, it looks like we are trying to run away from the truth. We're trying to cut corners, we're not really committed to it. So the more you know, the better it is. Be'ezrat Hashem, it's going to be Erev Rosh Chodesh, this Motzei Shabbat, and we should all, Am Yisrael, be besimcha rabbah. We should all be besimcha. We should all be berefuah, and we should be in wealth and health. Amen. And Rabotai, somebody won the Mega Millions, $400 million, but don't lose a beat. The price is back on $40 million. That's not bad, right? You're upset you didn't win, but there's a long way to go. Don't worry. Have hope. Have emunah and bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and be very, very happy with what you have. Be very happy with what you have. You don't want to be taken away from you to realize how good it was when you had it. So let's celebrate what we have, and we should wish all our friends here refuah shlema. You should be happy, and so happy and healthy that I wish that you will be able to dance at the weddings of your great-grandchildren. Amen. So Rosh Chodesh Tov, actually Shabbat Shalom, and Rosh Chodesh Tov.